I ended up in sort of a unique vantage point, 15 steps from the Oval Office, and I was there for almost 7 years. And so I wanted to use that vantage point to write about the things that I saw, what actually went on, how did we actually get there, and what did we actually do once we got there, because these controversies are still fresh on people's minds, and people are trying to figure out what actually happened. I wanted to help them out.
A lot of lessons learned. Is there things that you think you could have done better?
Oh, sure, absolutely. I talk about them in the book, whether it was properly handling the Democratic attacks on the president for supposedly lying about weapons of mass destruction, a charge launched by 5 Democrats in 2 days, all of whom had themselves said Saddam had WMD, or what we did with Katrina. So I've tried to be candid in the book. I want it to be durable. I want people to look back and say, I can understand what happened and why things happened.
What do you think the current administration could learn by reading your book?
They could learn a lot about how they ought to focus on policy and not spend so much time on politics. And Americans elect their president to solve problems, not to constantly wring their hands and blame their predecessors. You didn't hear that from George W. Bush, who inherited a recession, but he didn't spend his first year and a half saying, oh, poor me, the stock market, the NASDAQ's lost 50% of its value because the previous administration put us into a recession. That's not what the American people want to hear.
What do you think the major focus of the current administration should be?
Jobs here at home and security abroad. And they've failed to pay attention to the first one, and they've done reasonably well on the second. So I'm troubled by their things like close Gitmo. I mean, that 1-year anniversary's come and gone. Maybe it wasn't so easy to promise to do it. And their decision to try Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in a public trial in New York City is the one thing the terrorists would love more than anything else. It would give them a worldwide stage in order to blame America, inflame passions in the Islamic world, and recruit more terrorists. And why the administration thinks that's a good idea is beyond me.
What do you think are the major problems or opportunities for America and the world at large?
Well, the biggest challenge we have is fighting and winning the global war on terror. It's going to define this young century. The outcome of it is going to have profound consequences for the trajectory of our nation and the world over the next 100 years. We win it, and this will be a much more peaceful world. We lose it, and it's going to be an ugly place for our kids and our grandkids.
The economy in the Eurozone seems to be having a little bit of trouble. Do you see that as being a problem for the United States?
Well, I think prosperity around the world is important for everybody, and the U.S. economy can do a better job of growing long term than the Eurozone can do a better job. Right now, one of the things that worries me is the euro is declining in value compared to the U.S. currency, and that means that export powerhouses like Germany have got an even bigger advantage over us and compete for sales abroad. That's why we need to have trade agreements all around the globe that require other nations to lower their barriers to their goods, to our goods and services being sold to their company, like we've lowered barriers here in the United States.
Do you think the president should be apologizing around the world for the United States?
The United States has done a remarkable job of leading the world towards prosperity and security and freedom, particularly since World War II, and I'm proud of my country.